Video coverage of IT Expo is brought to you by Content Boost, the content marketing specialists. Amplify your sales today.
Hi, I'm Eric Lanasker at IT Expo in Miami. With me on the program today from Obihai is Sherman Schulten. Sherman, thanks for joining me. Good to see you again.
Hey Eric, thanks for having me.
So certainly if you go hang out on the exhibit hall at our show or other industry events, you're bound to see a lot of hardware, phones, ATAs, something that you're very, very familiar with.
Right.
What differentiates one vendor from another today? Obviously a lot of similar hardware with a lot of similar features. There's got to be a factor that goes into making a decision.
Yeah, I'd say that when somebody evaluates hardware, they're thinking, well, it seems like they're thinking about the price.
Sure.
But beyond that, they're looking at, what do they really need it for, and does it do what they want it to do? And, does it either help them make money, right, or does it help them save money, which at the end of the day is going to help them make more money? And one of the ways where Obihai has, I think, innovated in this space is using the cloud to help service providers, even big ones and small ones. And actually, if you really go into it, even the street buyer that buys a device at a online merchant site to use with a voice over IP account that they get from who knows where. The cloud can really help them get more use out of that device, and from a standpoint of managing it, from the standpoint of configuring it, and doing it in a distributed way that in the past you never could have done that. You would either had to internally configure the device and then send it out to the customer and then hope that it's going to be okay when they plug it into some unknown router and some unknown network, or you actually have to have staff that goes out there and installs it and troubleshoots it and make sure that it works that way. So using a tether to a cloud-based management system, that's where, like I said, a service provider, a reseller, even a private individual basically can have more control over the device. So that's one of the things that I think is changing how people see these devices is, when they're trying to decide which one to buy, then the ability to manage it and manage it cheaply and from anywhere really makes it stand out.
Well, I think that's certainly been a common theme in conversations already here this week, is your ability to take whatever your product or whatever your service is and create some additional value out of that for your customers. Again, coming back to my initial statement, there are a number of similar products, similarly priced products, similar quality products and services out there. So how do you, that's really what the question is, how do you get and make yourself above and beyond what your competitors are? Clarify one thing for me, how does it help the individual consumer?
Well, so the individual consumer, again, they're looking at something that's going to fit within their budget. If they can save money, great. But also, I think that they're looking for flexibility and they're looking for power, right? They want the power to decide what service they use. They want the power to decide how they use the service. And I think a lot of service providers are trying to enable that. When you see things like the proliferation of applications that work with communication service, that kind of shows you that the service providers are trying to give their subscribers things that they want. When you see that all of the over-the-top services that are coming out, not only in the communication space, but in the monitoring area and the home control and security monitoring and things like that, and allowing people to use the devices that they already have to use those services, that really helps the end user at the end of the day. So Obihai, given that we make phone adapters, soon to make IP phones, we make them that can be used in small businesses, definitely residential users. We try to do it in a way that whether you're getting the device from a service provider or you're going online and buying it for yourself and bringing your own service to it, that you're able to maintain a degree of control that you may not have had, even a couple years ago. So that really kind of makes it new, makes it fresh, makes it a reason to upgrade your device.
So you started answering the next question is,
Okay.
Is that enough to help either businesses or individuals increase their adoption rates when it comes to newer communication technologies? Is that ability that you're talking about to leverage cloud for management or configuration or upgrades or enhancements or things like that, is that enough to help drive people to an upgrade where they maybe would have otherwise hung on to their older equipment longer?
Right. Well, I mean, that's a good question. I think it's a matter of kind of where that incremental value is in the overall importance or the weighted importance of what the individual has. And I think today we're seeing that with a lot of these services that are subscription based, if you can even save, $5 or even $10 a month, well, that's $60 or $120 a year. And I know that that's not much, but to a lot of people today, that is. And this is kind of where, yeah, it is enough to get somebody to change. It's amazing what you see today when it's so easy to go out and buy something. You can just go, on Amazon.com, or you can go on some other online merchant site and buy something, have it delivered to you the next day, and start using it. And if it's easy to switch, then yeah, it's easy to upgrade. And if it's easy to take your service and the things that you want, how people connect to you and put it on these new devices, then that definitely, I guess you could say, it eases the pain of moving devices. One thing I could kind of compare it to is the emergence of unlocked phones. A lot of people now are buying an unlocked phone, and they're going out and buying a SIM card from any number of service providers who in the past were they were either loath to offer a prepaid SIM card, or they just didn't want to do it. But today, many of the major carriers are doing that, and we're seeing that in the voice over IP world as well. Today, there are a lot of service providers that are emerging that they don't really care what device you use. They provide you with an account, and off you go.
You mentioned earlier that Obihai will soon be in the IP phone business as well. Is that a reflection of growth rate of voice over IP and an increased overall user base versus those who haven't adopted yet?
Well, I mean, the IP phone market, even though it's quite mature, as young as it is, it's quite mature. There's still a lot of innovation that can be done there, and a lot of that innovation comes from things like smartphones, things like tablets that are just so, they're so prevalent today that making a device that is maybe making a device that is thought of as kind of something in the past, if you can make it relevant to what people are using today, then it's definitely something that's going to be attractive in the market. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Can't reveal too much now of what we're going to do, but it's definitely an interesting time.
What do you say to those folks out there who are still mocking smartphone or IP phone manufacturers and explaining to them how the smartphone is the phone of the future and the desk phone is dead?
Well, if you've ever tried to use a smartphone as a speakerphone, for instance, can't be done. If you've ever tried to really be connected in a way that's comfortable for you at that time, then it's nice to have that choice. So yeah, I'm not discounting the awesomeness of having a smartphone as your primary communications device, but having peripheral devices that help you leverage the power of the services that you're using to get in your day-to-day life, that's the thing that is what's going to make a difference in people's lives.
Fantastic. Sherman, thanks so much for being on our show today.
Thanks, Eric.
Video coverage of ITEXPO is brought to you by Content Boost, the content marketing specialists. Amplify your sales today.